Hi everyone, thank you for joining us. I'm joined here by Justin Erbacci, who is CEO of Los Angeles World Airport. So Justin, thank you so much for joining me today in sunny Las Vegas.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
My first question for you is that I read recently that international passenger traffic at LAX nearly doubled in July compared to the same time last year. That is excellent news and congratulations. How is the airport coping with this surge in demand though?
Yeah, we're really happy to welcome our international customers back after such a long time. You know, we as a gateway airport for international traffic, especially to the east, that was the biggest reason for us not being able to get back up to our 2019 levels, because we were heavily dependent upon international traffic. But we're really glad to see them come back. And yes, in July we doubled our numbers from the year before, and 14% up even from the month before. So we're seeing some really good growth in the international sector to finally match some of the domestic traffic. We're handling it quite well. Because the growth has been slow, it hasn't just all come back at once. We've been able to adjust little by little. So we've been really handling the traffic very well. It was imperative for us to work very closely with Customs and Border Protection to make sure that the immigration was ready for the return of international passengers. We had some minor hiccups in the beginning, but we worked very closely with CBP, and they were great partners in giving us the staff that we needed in order to keep our immigration lines down. So we're handling it quite well so far.
And how are you dealing with workforce shortages? Do you have any? Are you currently hiring at the moment, for example?
Absolutely. We, like everyone else, are trying to ramp up our resources and having a difficult time. Everybody in the whole chain is having issues, from the airlines to the concessionaires to the ground handlers. So we're no different than everybody else. We lost a lot of people during the pandemic to retirees, early retirement. We incented some to retire earlier, and so now we're trying to catch up. And we've also opened a lot of new facilities since the pandemic started, so our airport is bigger, so we need even more employees. So we're ramping up, we're hiring, and we can't get people in fast enough, especially in the areas of police officers, security officers, custodians, and trade people, to really help to maintain our airports and to help make sure that they're safe.
And with the great resignation from aviation, airports must focus on their succession planning. What initiatives or programs do you have in place to attract that next generation?
Yeah, a lot of initiatives. Really a big focus on trying to get people interested in aviation at a young age, because most of the opportunities for people to come in are at the beginner stages. And so we really need to make sure we're having a good pipeline in succession planning. So we're doing a lot of activities in middle schools and high schools to start bringing awareness to aviation careers and getting people excited about working in aviation and at the airports. We also have a lot of workforce development programs where we're working with our trade unions and other third-party business partners to try to get people, especially from less fortunate areas and circumstances, to get into the work system in aviation and build careers in aviation and construction. So we've been very successful in that. For our own employees, it's very important that we work on retaining the ones that we have. And that is, making sure that we're providing them with a fun place to work, with competitive benefits and salaries, and that's what we're focusing on, making sure we're developing our employees as much as possible, so we can have that succession planning with our existing employees. Being in a civil service environment, which we are, it's more challenging. It's much more difficult than in the private sector, but we're finding ways to do it, and we definitely offer an exciting environment for anybody interested in aviation and construction and development, a lot of other areas, because we're doing some really innovative and exciting things that help.
Now, I understand you're running a $15 billion capital program, the centerpiece of which is the automated people mover. Tell me more about this project, as it sounds super exciting.
It's extremely exciting. So the $15 billion is predominantly involves our landside access modernization program. And that is a series of really 4 projects, 3 big ones and 1 enabling. The biggest one is our automated people mover project that is going to really revolutionize the way that people access the airport. It's going to provide connectivity with the metro system, so public transportation, train system finally will be able to be connected to the airport. It'll also connect to a consolidated rental car facility, the biggest in the United States and maybe in the world, and also a new economy parking lot. And together, these are going to offer so many different opportunities for people to be able to access the airport without having to go through the traditional horseshoe that we have that often gets congested. So we're really excited. The rental car facility is going to be one site that will be really great for customers. They can get on the people mover, and within 10 to 12 minutes, they're going to be at, more or less, they're going to be at the rental car center. They'll all be in the same location. And it will alleviate people having to get on buses, and it will alleviate all of those big, huge rental car buses that really congest the central terminal area. The new parking facility, the new economy parking facility, has state-of-the-art parking for people to be able to reserve ahead of time and pre-book their parking, so they can get certainty that they're going to have a spot, and then be able to just hop on the people mover to get in. So it really is going to revolutionize the way people access the airport.
Will the APM take people from the centre of town to the airport? How long will the journey be in that case?
Our people mover will run from the western part of the central terminal area, which is near our international terminal, and there will be 3 stations in the central terminal area. Then there will be a station at our common parking lot. Then there'll be a station that will connect literally one above the other with the metro system, the light rail system within the city of Los Angeles. And then the last stop will be the consolidated rental car facility.
Fantastic. So how long will it be between the first stop and the last stop?
It's about 2.25 miles from end to end, and it will take 10 to 12 minutes from end to end. We'll have 2-minute headways, so you'll always be able to jump on a train and be at your destination very quickly.
Fantastic. Now the APM will leverage cutting-edge sustainability practices to reduce the airport area's carbon footprint. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, the whole idea is to offer an opportunity for people to not have to get in their car to get to the airport using public transportation. Is a huge part of the initiative. But we have many, many other initiatives. Sustainability is very, very important to us. And we have a sustainability action plan, which we call Boldly Moving to Zero, which will get us to zero emissions by 2045. And there are several aspects to that. Electrification of a lot of our ground fleet. There's working to provide electric chargers in our parking lots and our rental car facilities. Also to move to non-potable water for most of our activities in potable water, and really to focus on working with our partners to provide sustainable aviation fuels or non-leaded fuels for and some of our general aviation aircraft.
Now, it's great to hear that you're investing in intermodal transport. How does this compare to other airports in the US? Is it a relatively new thing, or are other airports quite well connected already?
I think all airports are now focused on really trying to look at how they're going to be able to improve their ground transportation system and use as many different types of methods and modes to allow passengers to come to the airport. And then with the emphasis on sustainability, we really want to move to more sustainable modes of transportation as well. So focusing on trying to get people to take public transportation, focusing on people who take more higher occupancy vehicles is really key. But also figuring out what is the best way for the ground transportation to be managed within an airport, because it's really vital to the operation of the airport.
I know you've invested a lot into biometric boarding, and now that you have a significant number of airlines capable of doing one-step boarding at LAX, what benefits have you seen from this, and do you have any statistical evidence for us?
Yes, we do. It's been really a great innovation that we've implemented here, and we plan to expand on that. Right now, all of the gates in our West Gates new facility, international facility, all have biometric boarding. And by the end of this year, all of the gates in the rest of our international facility will have biometric boarding. We have multiple airlines already signed up for that and are using it. It provides, number one, it's a comfort to the passenger. It makes it very easy for them to board. They don't have to pull out their passport or their boarding pass. They can carry those things. They don't have to drop them and put them down. And they just have to look into a camera and they're in the plane. So it's fast, it's easy, and it's fun. A lot of them like it because it's new for them. From a security perspective, it obviously is much more secure using a biometric than having somebody look at a passport photo and looking at somebody's face. So it's a lot better from a security standpoint. It also allows our border force to be able to actually track people when they leave the country much better than they could before. And then from an operational standpoint, you're boarding flights, especially wide-body planes, 25 to 30% faster than we did before. You're seeing A380s where you have 520 some passengers boarding in 20 minutes, which used to take 45, 50 minutes before.
Wow, that's fantastic. So how are you going to progress this even further? I.e., what other areas are you going to implement biometrics in?
Yeah, we're really big on biometrics because we really believe that that's going to solve a lot of problems. It's going to make the passenger journey more pleasant and faster for the passenger. It's going to give them more control of their journey. It's also going to be more secure, as I mentioned before, because that biometric identity match is much more secure than looking at a photo. And it's going to help operationally, especially now when we have fewer resources to be able to handle people, that the use of biometrics is going to allow us to continue to make the process, travel journey more efficient with fewer resources. So it's going to really revolutionize, and we're not only focusing at the boarding gates, but we're also focusing at the security checkpoint, and even before that at the bag drop. So we're piloting right now biometric self-service bag drops, so people can just go to a machine, look into the camera, have their identity verified, be able to tag and drop their bag without any assistance needed, and then they can move on and go to the security checkpoint. And then we're working with TSA and CBP to make sure that at the security checkpoints and at the immigration checkpoints that we're using biometrics.
And I ask every CEO this question, but what is your lessons learned from the pandemic in the past year?
Yeah, so lessons learned for us were really a few things. One is communication and collaboration are essential. We always knew that was the case, but it really came to light during the pandemic. We really focused on our recovery plan. We really focused on weekly or more collaborations with all of our key partners to make sure that we were working with each other, collaborating to address issues as they came up. I mean, this was an unprecedented event that we went through, and so there was no playbook for everybody to work. We had to figure out how to get things together, and by having very close collaboration, multiple communications not only to our partners but to our own staff to make sure they knew what was going on every step of the way. It was a scary time for them from a health perspective and lots of other things they were dealing with. And just to be open, honest, and communicate with them frequently was essential. So this is something that will continue. During the pandemic, I was sending out a CEO message every single day to our staff, and that was getting passed on to all of our partners. So we made sure we communicated. That was really key. We also learned how we can really be flexible. Now we had to be flexible, and we learned how to work together collaboratively as an executive team to be able to move fast, much faster than we ever thought we could, because we were forced to, and we figured out how to do it, and we recognized, hey, we can do this, especially with a government entity. People think it moves slow, but we were able to figure out how to move fast. And then the last thing is that we really helped us to realize that we can take different approaches to things. We don't have to do things the same way we always did. And it really helped us to get across the whole entire organization how important it is to be able to think out of the box and to be able to innovate and find innovative solutions to problems that we never thought sometimes we could do. So people have learned to be more flexible and how to think out of the box much more so. And that will help us coming out of the pandemic.
So you're going to continue these practices even though, once you come out of the pandemic, are you still going to send a daily message though from the CEO?
Well, we have them twice a week, so we've cut them down to twice a week because they don't want to bore everybody. But we continue, actually we won an award for it from some communication group at Bronze Anvil for that, and so it's very important for us. And I constantly, every time I go out and talk to our team members, they're always saying, those things are so helpful to me. So it's an important thing that we use to communicate, to keep everybody up to speed, and just to be open and transparent with them.
And what's on your agenda for 2023 as an airport CEO?
Lots of things. So we're going to, complete move towards completion of all of our important capital programs. So we talked about the people mover, the rental car facility. We also are working on part of our $15 billion is that we are continuing to work on all of our terminals and either modernizing or replacing them. So we'll continue with that. Terminal 3 and the new Terminal 3 we're doing with Delta will be completed within the next year. We're working with American in Terminal 4, Alaska in Terminal 6. We're going to be building a new extension to our midfield satellite concourse. Continuation of those, completion of those projects is very, very important. We also have just gotten environmental clearance for a new set of capital projects, which we're calling the Airfield and Terminal Modernization Program. That comprises of 2 new terminals, an extension of Terminal 1 and a new International Terminal 9. We're going to redo all of the roadways that lead into this central terminal area so that we can provide better access and less congestion for cars driving in. And then there's a lot of airfield improvements. So that's a huge program as well that we're just kicking off now. We have a cargo modernization program where we want to make our cargo facilities more efficient so we can handle more cargo than we did in the past. So we have a lot of capital projects. We're also it's really important for us not only to have nice facilities and efficient facilities and sustainable facilities, but also to focus on the customer experience. And the key there is going to be implementing a new digital marketplace that's going to give the passengers the ability to control their journey through their mobile device, even before they get to the airport. So they can pretty much map out and reserve all of the services that they want while they're at the airport, whether it be parking, transportation, lounge, food and beverage, any other amenities that we're going to be providing. They can book that all from their mobile device beforehand. So that's another important aspect.
Pick it up when they get there?
Yes. So we already have the smart parking application where people can reserve or pre-book their parking and put all their information in. They just pull up, it recognizes their license plate, and the gate opens up and they go in. Same happens when they leave. And so that's that's a huge thing for us right now. We already have a shop and dine application which we're enhancing where people can go online and pre-order their food and beverage and then either pick it up at the concession stand or they can have it delivered to their gate. And we've implemented use a little bit of a little robot to help us with that, which people like as well.
Oh, I was about to ask that, if you have any robots delivering the items.
Yeah, we have a little robot delivering the items. We have some automated clean. So we're toying with a lot of different automation. But we're also going to be providing a common use lounge, and we have some real exciting amenities and services that we're planning to provide for customers while they're at the airport.
Sounds like I'll have to watch this space for some really interesting announcements. I love that. I asked what's on your agenda. I thought maybe I'd get 5 things. I have like 10 things from you, so it's going to be a busy year for you, obviously. So my final question for you is, what is your vision for the future of travel at LAX?
So the vision is similar to what I said before, is that we want to be able to have the customer be able to have control of their journey. And before they even get to the airport, they can get all the information they need. They can book all the services that they want, and in such a way that they know exactly what their journey is going to look like when they get to the airport, and have everything reserved that they want to, or available for them to pick up or get it delivered to them. And then use biometrics in order to be able to make their journey through the process as fast and efficient as possible, so they can get airside and get their food and beverage or get the services or amenities that we're going to be offering for them when they get to the airport.
So in 3 words, I guess, seamlessness, predictability and personalization are the key words.
Yes, those are great words. Yes.
That was my last question, Justin. Thank you so much for joining me.
No, my pleasure. Thank you very much.